Nestled beside the flowing Niger River, the village of Umuoka thrived with life and culture. Ancient traditions intertwined with modern aspirations, creating a rich tapestry of hope and ambition. As the sun rose over the horizon, its rays danced upon the water, casting a golden glow on the village, where a tale of love, ambition, and dark secrets was about to unfold. Adana stood at a crossroads, her beauty radiant, her mind sharp, and her laughter infectious. As she approached adulthood, she grappled with the weight of her mother's expectations. Torn between her own dreams and Alona's relentless ambition, Adana felt the tension of conflicting desires. Her heart longed for love and fulfillment, while her mother's stern voice echoed in her ears, urging her to aim for wealth and status. Alona, a woman defined by her fierce ambition, was determined to reshape her daughter's destiny. She often reminded Adana of her own sacrifices, repeating the mantra, "Aim higher. Love won't fill your stomach." Alona's marriage, a decision made in the name of love, had left them in poverty, fueling her desire to ensure Adana never faced the same fate. Yet, in her pursuit of wealth and status, she struggled to see the true nature of love. The tension between Adana and Alona reached a breaking point one evening as they stood in the fading light of their home. Adana's heart ached for freedom, while Alona's fear of repeating past mistakes loomed large. Their love for each other was undeniable, yet so were their conflicting dreams. It was a moment of reckoning that would define their relationship and set the stage for the choices that lay ahead. In the modest home of Adana and her family, the air was thick with the aroma of freshly ground yams. Each morning, the sound of Alona's grinding echoed through the village, a rhythmic testament to her relentless spirit and determination. Her rough hands moved with practiced efficiency, reflecting years of hard work at the market. In the background, Nomi, Adana's father, quietly tended to a small garden, his face etched with lines of labor and unspoken dreams, often overshadowed by Alona's ambitious pursuits. In a quiet corner of the village, Adana and Ikena often met by the riverbank, where the clay-rich soil nurtured Ikena's artistry. As he shaped clay into exquisite pots, the world around them faded away. Ikena's warm smile and gentle spirit ignited a spark in Adana's heart that no amount of wealth could extinguish. Here, amidst the beauty of his craft, they whispered dreams that transcended Alona's expectations, unaware of the challenges that lay ahead. The village gathering was alive with laughter, music, and the rich aromas of traditional dishes. Under the shade of a large baobab tree, villagers mingled, sharing stories and enjoying the festivities. Alona, proudly dressed, scanned the crowd until her gaze landed on Obiora, a striking figure surrounded by admirers, his eyes mysterious and unsettling. Rumors of his dark magic and wealth preceded him, and as he locked eyes with Adana, Alona's ambitions ignited anew. Days turned into weeks, and Obiora's relentless pursuit of Adana escalated. He showered her with extravagant gifts, golden jewelry, fine fabrics, and lavish feasts, while Alona pushed harder for the marriage, blinded by greed. Torn between her love for Ikena and the heavy expectations from her mother, Adana felt ensnared in a web from which there seemed no escape. At dusk, the soft sounds of the stream whispered secrets as Adana met Ikena. The fading sunlight cast a warm glow on them, but the weight of her dilemma darkened her heart. With trembling hands, she shared her fears. "I can't marry a man I don't love," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Ikena, desperate to protect their love, reached for her hands and urged, "Run away with me. We can start anew." The urgency of his words hung in the air, promising hope but also peril. Adana stood by the stream, her heart breaking as she faced Ikena. Tears shimmered in her eyes as she shook her head, unwilling to drag him into her troubles. "I can't put that burden on you. Focus on becoming the master potter I know you can be," she urged him, her voice trembling. "We will find our way back to each other." Ikena's face reflected desperation, but he nodded, understanding her need to protect him, even as it tore them apart. As days faded into weeks, Alona's threats grew sharper and more serious. "If you refuse Obiora, you will no longer be my daughter," she warned, her voice cold and unforgiving. The pressure bore down on Adana like an iron weight, squeezing out all hope and joy. In an anguished whisper, she finally succumbed to despair. "I will marry Obiora." The decision felt like a betrayal to her heart, yet it was the only path she saw left. The wedding day dawned bright and festive, the village buzzing with excitement over Obiora's opulent ceremony. Yet, for Adana, it felt like a gilded cage. She was adorned in luxurious attire, surrounded by laughter and joy, but her heart ached under the weight of her decision. As she stood beside Obiora, she felt trapped, her spirit yearning for freedom. In that moment, her gaze wandered through the throng until it locked onto Ikenas at the edge of the crowd. His heartbroken expression pierced through the celebratory facade, deepening her sorrow. As Adana stepped through the grand entrance of Obiora's home, her senses were assaulted by the opulence that surrounded her. Glistening chandeliers hung from the high ceilings, and rich tapestries adorned the walls, but the sheer luxury only deepened her unease. Obiora was often absent, leaving her alone in this lavish prison. She caught glimpses of a dilapidated hut tucked away in the gardens, its presence unsettling. It was forbidden, yet it beckoned to her curiosity, cloaked in secrets that fueled her growing anxiety. One stormy night, as the wind howled outside, Adana prepared for bed, her thoughts swirling with uncertainty. A flicker of movement caught her eye, and she turned to see the dilapidated hut in the garden, barely visible through the rain-soaked glass. Suddenly, a massive white python slithered out from the shadows of the hut, its scales glistening ominously in the moonlight. The creature's eyes, filled with a chilling intelligence, locked onto hers, and fear gripped her heart. She sensed it was a guardian of Obiora's darkest secrets, a sentinel that warned her to stay away. The days turned into nights as Adana resolved to uncover the truth behind Obiora's household. She became a silent observer, watching the comings and goings of the servants, noting their whispered conversations and furtive glances. Strange occurrences began to surface, a sudden chill in the air, shadows moving where they shouldn't, and the unsettling presence of the python lurking nearby, as if it was always watching her. Each detail fed her growing conviction that something dark lay beneath the surface of her gilded life. On a moonless night, Adana's heart raced as she stealthily followed Obiora through the lush gardens toward the forbidden hut. The air was thick with trepidation as she approached a cracked window, her breath hitching in her throat. Peering inside, she gasped at the sight before her, a gathering of women, adorned in luxurious garments, but their expressions were shadowed by despair. Obiora's wives were trapped in a web of fear and isolation, their spirits dampened by the dark magic that surrounded them. The reality of their plight struck Adana deeply, igniting a fierce resolve within her. Realizing the danger she was in, Adana knew she had to act quickly. The next day, she sought out Akena, her heart pounding as she confessed her plight. "I must escape this life, but I need your strength," she pleaded, desperation evident in her eyes. Akena listened intently, his expression a mix of concern and determination. Together, they began to devise a plan, a daring strategy to confront Obiora during the upcoming festival, rallying the villagers to expose his dark deeds and free the imprisoned women. The night of the festival had arrived, and the village of Umuoka pulsed with life. Drums echoed through the air, and colorful lights adorned the pathways as villagers gathered to celebrate. Amid the festivities, Adana stood tall, her heart racing with anticipation and fear. She knew this was the moment to confront Obiora. Clad in vibrant attire that symbolized her determination, she could feel the strength of the villagers behind her, ready to support her in unveiling the dark truth that had held them captive for too long. Under the vibrant glow of festival lights, Adana stood firm, her eyes locked onto Obiora. "Obiora," she called out, her voice steadied despite the tension in the air. "You have used your wealth for darkness, and we will not be silent any longer." The villagers, drawn by her bravery, began to gather around her, their expressions shifting from surprise to determination. Alana, initially in shock at her daughter's boldness, felt her heart soften as she recognized the strength in Adana's resolve. With Ikenna by her side, Adana took a deep breath and revealed the truth: Obiora's magic was built on the suffering of his wives. As she spoke, the villagers listened intently, their eyes widening with realization and anger. The weight of the truth hung heavy in the air, catalyzing a shift in the crowd. Alana stepped forward, her heart swelling with pride and fear for her daughter, aware that this was a pivotal moment for their village. Unraveled by the truth, Obiora began to falter. The unity of the people was a force he had never anticipated, and suddenly, his wealth and power felt meaningless. With the villagers standing firm, he realized he was outmatched and, in that moment of vulnerability, he fled into the night, leaving behind the darkness of his reign. Adana stood tall, surrounded by the villagers, who celebrated their newfound strength and unity. In the aftermath of their confrontation with Obiora, Adana and Ikenna stood hand in hand, free to pursue their love without fear. The weight of oppression lifted from their shoulders, they looked into each other's eyes, a shared sense of hope illuminating their faces. Alana approached them, her heart filled with newfound understanding of true happiness. With sincerity in her voice, she apologized for her past actions, embracing the belief that love, not wealth, would guide their future. As the last rays of the sun illuminated the village, Adana realized that true treasure came from love and unity, not gold or status. She felt a sense of peace wash over her, a conviction that their bonds would guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead. Together with Ikenna, they began to envision their future, a life filled with laughter, kindness, and purpose. With the village united and the oppressive shadow of Obiora gone, Adana, Ikenna, and Alana joined the community in rebuilding their lives. They worked side by side, planting seeds of hope and cultivating a future where joy and unity thrived. The laughter of children echoed in the air, a beautiful reminder that love was the strongest foundation for a prosperous life. I hope you enjoyed this retelling. If you did, please like, comment on what you learned, and subscribe for more enchanting tales just like this one. Thank you.